Hi everybody, so I thought I would do something new today because I haven't done a talking video in a while, and so I decided to do a video on manners in Japan because it's something that I can think that I know a lot about because I've made lots of mistakes, and specifically I want to talk about doing homestay in Japan. And I guess I'll just start it and go right ahead then. So there's a Japanese saying that goes like, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. And I think that kind of has a different meaning in Japanese or to Japanese people, but to me that is exactly what it says. If you're standing out and you're a foreigner, and then it tends to be that you need to mash yourself into society and be more like everybody else. And I guess that's kind of changing now in modern Japan, but I do think that they're more of more for the group rather than the individual. And it's important to respect Japanese culture and Japanese way of life if you plan on visiting here. And you should study Japanese culture, and you should try to say hi, Ellie. You should try to learn a little bit if you're planning on coming here, just so that you don't offend anybody. And you should do that for any country that you're going to go to, not only Japan. So first, I'd like to talk about my experience. I came to Japan when I was 17, and I had taken one class 1 year of Japanese, and I thought that I knew everything because I was 17, and really I was just ignorant and didn't know anything about Japan. So when I got there, I kind of made an ass of myself. And I honestly didn't even know what I was doing wrong, because in my family, it's like your home is my home. So I just tried to be like I would want someone to be at my house, which is, make yourself at home, take whatever you need, don't put other people out of the way, just be comfortable, and everyone else is going to be comfortable. But that's not how it is necessarily with Japanese families. You have to be really polite and cautious of their family, and this isn't your home. You can't act like it's your home. You need to be extra polite and ask before you take things, and anyway, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So if you go to stay with your host family, try to speak Japanese at least a little bit, and if you can't speak any Japanese, they'll appreciate any effort that you put in. Say hajimemashite, I'm nice to meet you, and they are going to be like, oh, you're so good at Japanese, because they are flattered by anybody that can even say arigato. It's not like America where people expect you to know English, and if you don't know English, they're like, God, you're in America, you need to know English. But Japanese people are thrilled if you're even making an effort to say thank you to them. So I think that you should at least try. When you go to your host family's house, or to anybody's house in general, you need to bring a gift. So Japanese people usually do cake or not flowers actually. I'd avoid flowers because certain colored flowers mean certain things. You don't give white flowers because that's what you would give at a funeral, because white is death and birth. But anyway, cake or things like that, snacks. But you're coming from America, so you should bring something specific, to your state or country. So bring, when I went there, I brought a Petoskey stone, which is the Michigan Great Lakes special stone, and I brought something from the Frederick Meyer Gardens, and I brought just little things from your state. So a jersey, your favorite basketball team, whatever. Bring something for each person. If you have a host brother or sister, bring them something, American Spider-Man or something like that. And they will appreciate that, and that'll give you a chance to talk about yourself and ask things about them. And so now let's move on to dining with your host family. So if you can't use chopsticks, they probably won't care. They'll probably give you a fork. But try it anyway, like I said, because they'll appreciate the effort. No. And it's hard to focus when you have a baby. If you don't, like something, they'll probably have you try a lot of different really weird things like octopus and squid and raw fish. And you just try it. Like, the first time that I tried octopus, I thought I was going to freaking hurl. I got off the Shinkansen. I've been, like, jet lagged. I hadn't slept in, like, 24 hours. I meet my host family, and then they're like, oh, let's go eat. And they ordered me, like, a huge plate of all this sashimi. And I like sashimi, I like raw fish, but I had never had raw, or maybe it was boiled octopus. And I just put it in my mouth, and I was thinking, holy shit, what am I eating? And I thought I was going to hurl, but I was like, it's interesting, Just try it, put a smile on your face. That'll make them happy. It's probably the one thing that I did right. And anyway, make sure you say itadakimasu. Itadakimasu. Which means it's basically thanking the person that prepared that meal for you, saying, I'm going to eat this meal you prepared. And when you're done, you say, Gochisousama deshita. Gochisousama deshita. Put your hands together like this. Gochisousama deshita. So you have to say those things. I mean, imagine that there was a host student that came to your house, and say your family's Christian, and you guys always pray before you have a meal. Well, if some foreigner just sat down and started to eat, your family would probably feel really awkward and would say, maybe feel not embarrassed to even pray in front of that person. So you have to be extra considerate and careful around people who are letting you stay in their home. You have to watch and see what they do before you act on your own. Wait until you even wait to sit down. Sit down last. Ask where you should sit down, because, like, in my house, when I was 6, I carved my name into the table with a fork because I was like, fuck no, my friends are coming over, they're not sitting in my seat, because this is where I sit at the table. That was my spot. I was marking my territory. So, they might have spots they sit at in their house, and if you just go and sit down somewhere, you might be sitting in Grandpa's chair, and God forbid you sit in Grandpa's chair. And, you can't generalize every family. Maybe some families don't have that. But just be careful and wait and watch before you act. It's not what I did. I forgot to say itadakimasu. I offended my host mother, and they thought I was rude. But they were accepting because I was a foreigner, and they knew that I didn't know what I was doing, so they forgave those things. Also, bath time. Japanese people generally take baths, not showers. And, well, I mean, they kind of shower off before they get into the bath, and then they take a bath. And they take it at nighttime, not in the morning. So if you're used to taking a shower in the morning, you have to readjust your schedule. So make sure that you ask them what time is good for them. And also, if there's grandparents living with you, which there probably will be, because, well, not probably, but there might be, because a lot of Japanese families have grandparents that live with them. My family as well had grandparents living with them. In that case, the grandpa, stop gagging yourself. The grandpa usually takes a bath first, and then the husband, and then the son, or whatever. Usually the oldest to youngest gets in the bath. Not everybody, but traditional families will do that. So be careful. Don't just get into the bath, and you might be jumping in with naked grandma or grandpa. You need to ask when is appropriate for you. So the biggest mistake that I made was probably that I wasn't considerate of the things that they had planned out for me. So they really had wanted to take me to, like, Kyoto and show me around, but there was a bump in the road for me. I fell in love with an older guy, which was my husband now, and he was 24 and I was 17, and he was friends with the family, and they were trying to protect me from, you know, whatever, you know, you don't want your kid to go abroad and fall in love or whatever, so I'm sure that they were just trying to keep me out of that situation, and I wanted to spend all the time that I have with him and not go to Kyoto and not do those things. And so I was like, no, I want to do this, I want to do that. And in my family, that's what we want. We want people to tell us what they want, what they like, what they don't like. But in Japan, you have to be more considerate of what your family has planned for you. They're going to think that you're selfish and rude if you do what I did. And I didn't even know that they thought that, because I didn't speak Japanese well enough to know what they were saying, and they were polite to my face, but behind my back they were bashing me. They hated me. And now we're really good friends. Now they're like my support system here in Japan, and they forgave me, or understood that I was 17 years old and I make mistakes, and everybody's pretty much selfish and stupid when they're 17 years old. So that all worked itself out, and I don't mean to intimidate you if you're going to study abroad. But what I'm trying to say is that everybody makes mistakes, and you have to go in realizing that you're wrong and the other culture is right, and you can't compare. I mean, you only have what you know to compare against. So you have to try to erase everything that you know and just go in looking at it through their perspective, which I know is basically impossible if you've never been there, but just be aware, look around at what everybody else is doing, and wait before you act. So, I'm sorry if I just ranted for a really long time. You can ignore this movie if it's boring. But, alright, so if you go outside, I wanted to talk about manners outside too. So, there, as you know, Japan, ow, she's biting me, is a very populated country, highly, and if you're living in a large city like Osaka or Tokyo or wherever, you have to be aware of those around you. So, like, if you've seen my neighborhood and my videos, it's all apartments around here, and I can hear people talking from like half a mile away, like if they're loud. I can hear everything in this area. Luckily, I'm on the 11th story, so it's not that loud. That's why it's really important to be quiet. At nighttime especially. You can be kind of loud in the daytime, but at nighttime, people are all around you, living with families and whatnot, so be quiet at nighttime. Also, if you're walking in the sidewalk, walk to the left side. Either side is fine, but generally the left side. You have to let people by, and there'll be bikes flying around, and if you're walking in the middle, people are going to be ringing their little bell at you. Get out of my way! Or they might just run you over. Someone tried to run my dad over when he was here. They're like, Kaijin! But people are generally really nice, but you have to be nice and respect their lifestyle. Also, so social rules as well. Girls, you're foreigners, so people are generally going to just, overlook it. This isn't a rule or anything like that, but like I said, you should try to fit in when you're living in another country. So don't wear like just a tank top with your bra straps showing, because most girls don't just wear tank tops. They'll wear like a t-shirt underneath a tank top, or a t-shirt over a tank top, or a long sleeve shirt. They will never just show, a tank top, or you barely ever see bare shoulders. And shorts, like I'm wearing shorts right now, but I really don't ever wear these outside, because if I do, I wear tights underneath them. Shorts, like, rarely you ever see adults wearing shorts. And if they're wearing shorts, they're wearing long shorts, or they're wearing what they call spots, which are like tights underneath them, or a skirt. Short skirt, wear tights. And okay, so trains and buses, you're gonna definitely be riding on those if you come here, because most people don't have cars. And if you have a car, you're lucky. If not, you can get anywhere you need to go on a train, subway, or bus. Hold on a minute. Here, play with this. remote controller. Yeah, so you can get pretty much anywhere that you need to go on public transportation, and it's cheap and clean and wonderful. But if you're from Michigan like me, you might not be used to being swarmed like a popsicle that's been dropped on the sidewalk by ants. That's like how I felt when I first rode on a train during rush hour. I felt like I was in a mosh pit. So you might have to adjust your comfortability level, I don't know, but people are going to be all around you at sometimes like rush hour in a train. And that's why you need to think about people around you. You can't do the wild and crazy stuff that you would do in a bus in America. You have to be really polite, because there could be 100 people around you, and if you've got your music blaring in your headphones, everyone's going to be bothered by that. So like I said, no headphone blaring music. Turn your cell phone on manner mode, on vibrate. Don't eat food. Try not to eat food on the train, because they honestly don't really care that much, but people will be like, I don't know. And also, if you're a girl, no, don't put your makeup on in the train. Now, I honestly don't know why that's such a big deal, but it really bothers people, so no makeup. You might accidentally stab your eye out with your mascara anyway, so it's a health hazard. You'll notice that if you go into a train, usually the seat all the way farthest, like towards the end of the train, I don't know how to explain it, but the seat all the way over there has different print on the cushions than the rest of the seats. It has like person with crutches, a pregnant lady, so, or whatever. So even if you can't speak Japanese, it's the priority seats. So people really big assholes like salarymen that are like in their 30s and drunk will sit there because there's no other seats or whatever. That really bothers me personally, because I was pregnant in Japan, and it really bothered me when there was nowhere to sit down and someone that didn't need to be sitting in the priority seat was sitting there. And usually someone will give you their seat, but don't sit in the priority seat if you don't have a broken leg, or you're not pregnant, or you're not old. Also, trash bins. Japanese people are very environmentally friendly, and if you rarely ever see somebody litter. And like even my apartment area, like if someone throws a tobacco on the ground, a cigarette on the ground, we have like twice a month cleaning at our apartment, where we clean the hallways, we clean the front of the apartment, pick up all the tobacco, wash like the cement, sweep the cement. Like you will see people taking such good care of the outside of their store. Like in the morning before they open up a store, you'll see people with straw brooms sweeping the outside, the concrete in front of their storefront, and then washing it down. And it's just so much cleaner than I don't live in New York, but I've been there, and it is a million times cleaner than New York, and you have to contribute to that. So if you decide that you're thirsty and you need to get a soda, and you get plastic bottle and you throw it away in like a normal trash can, then you're not contributing. So there'll be like a labeled picture there for you, a drawing on it, so even foreigners can understand. There'll be a can picture, a picture of a newspaper, and then I think a plastic. So plastic, bottles, and newspapers, so paper. So separate into the labeled bin. So I don't really know what else I can talk about. There's so many things that you're not even going to think of. I'm from Michigan, and maybe because there's so few people, or it's such a rural area, that there's things that I couldn't have ever even imagined unless I lived here. For example, the manners that you have to have when riding on an elevator. And when I thought of elevator before I'd ever been to Japan, all I thought of was push a button, get in, get off. You know, what is there to know? But like, I live in an 11-story apartment building where you run into people you live with every single day in the elevator. So you have to be respectful because they're your neighbors. So there's like this set of order of rules that you have to do. So you don't just, okay, you push the button and there's other people waiting. So you have to let the other people on first. Usually someone will push the button on the outside so the doors don't close. Someone will push the button on the inside so the doors don't close. And then somebody will usually put their arm in front of the doors so that they don't close. So that's just like respecting the other people that are going to be in the elevator. Once you get in the elevator, you know, you stand as far into the corner as you can to let everybody else have space. And then when you get off, if you're the person closest to the button, you hold down the open button, put your hand in front of the door. If you're in the way, you know, you get out and you let the other people out. Like, there's a whole system of rules that I couldn't even fathom if I hadn't lived here, you know, because I'm living with the people in this building. They say I'm getting off first to me, Osaki desu. And so, I mean, you're not expected to know those things if you're studying abroad in Japan or if it's your first time here, but like I've said over and over again, the most important thing is to just keep your eyes open and expect that you're not going to be right, you're going to make mistakes, and always watch for what everybody else is doing. You don't want to try your best to be polite or to just have, I don't know, maybe you just do what you think you would do in your country and you think you're doing what is right, and then somebody tells you later on, oh no, you were really rude. What would you think? So you really have to keep your eyes open and think about it from the Japanese point of view, and just I don't know what else to say. You'll make mistakes, and that's okay, but learn from them and admit you're wrong, and you'll become a better person and a more worldly person, and I guarantee you that you'll love Japan and you'll fall in love with Japan. It's a magical place, and I hope that I'm not making it sound intimidating, because Japanese people are so friendly and helpful and caring, and it's totally worth the culture shock and the mistakes that you're going to make. So I hope that if you guys have any questions that you'll ask me, and I'd love to answer those for you. And also I want to make some more videos, but I don't really have any good ideas. I don't know like where to start, because I just kind of jumped in with videos of Ellie. So if you have anything that you'd like me to do a video on, like I was thinking maybe doing a video on my pregnancy or something like that, so just let me know what you'd like to know about me and Ellie or about Japan. So leave me a comment and I'll see you again soon. Bye!